I am with Larry Gibson, Avanti owner, but this thing is customized to the max. I mean, at first glance, it's an Avanti, but then you look under the hood and you go, wait a minute, and then you look at the body and you see some pretty big modifications. What do you call this thing? Is it an Avanti?
Yes, believe it or not, it was not my idea. This is would have been a prototype from 1986 for the Stephen Blake, who had bought the company at that point in time, and he wanted to change the image of Avanti from older style Grand Touring car to more of a sports car like Corvette. And so while he was in production of the other cars you see here, he actually designed a two-seater sports car with Corvette suspension under it in 1983. And he did make one model which was raced in the Escort series, but had a full-size body. And Herb Adams from GM worked for him for a year and had all 1983 Corvette suspension under it. So he also designed a convertible and the two-door two-passenger coupe.
So that I'm not confused, so you took that same idea and built this car using that same design and concept?
Right. So I used his concept because what happened was, while the convertible and the four doors got built, he unfortunately went bankrupt before he got a chance to build a two-door, two-passenger concept car.
I see. So
it's a unique idea, so I picked up on it.
Well, the Avanti was always a very sporty car anyway, in my view. It certainly was ahead of its time.
It did. It had a number of safety features, padded dash, disc brakes before anybody, has a built-in roll bar. All these cars you see here have built-in roll bars, and they did have a lot of features. And they were, in fact, still roomy. They had four-passenger for adults, not just kids in the back seat.
So the Avanti, I think if you ask young people today, they probably would go, what's an Avanti?
Yeah, they wouldn't know. It's a derivative of Studebaker. Studebaker produced them in 1982-3, including the 64 model year. But Studebaker ceased production in 64. Well, actually the end of 63, beginning of 64 in South Bend. Carried on in Hamilton for 2 more years through March 66, when all Studebaker was suspended. But Avanti, part of it, has had various owners every 2 or 3 years, and carried on actually with a Firebird chassis underneath in the early 2000s, and late 2000s with a Mustang body underneath.
So this car, when you originally found it, it was just an Avanti.
It was a standard Avanti, and I took the concept of the backbone step-down chassis that Herb Adams designed, built that chassis to suit a C6 Corvette components.
And was this a rough car when you first found it? Is that why you went this route?
It was. The frame was totally rusted out. Interior was trash. I bought it quite inexpensively and sold enough parts to, make it a good project car.
And so today you're at the Fleetwood Country Cruize In London, Ontario, with a bunch of other Avanti owners, and it's not common to see this many Avantis in one place at one time.
Well, we liked this location here, and I talked to Mr. Plunkett early in the year and said, how many do I have to find to get a spot in your front yard? And he told me, so I said, okay, I'll work on it. So I managed to get this number of people to come today so we could get this venue.
Well, it really is amazing, and the caliber of cars on display here is top-notch.
Not only in this area, but the whole 100 acres, there's thousands here.
Thousands of
beautiful cars of every description you can imagine.
Well, sure, but I mean, in terms of the Avantis up here, these ones are all really very, very high quality, well restored, well maintained.
They are, but they're driven regularly. Most of these cars are, throughout the summer months or on a regular basis. They're not show cars by any means. They're users.
But that's what a car is meant to be used for, is to be driven.
Correct.
And these are all members of a club?
Yes, the Avanti Owners Association of Canada. And we fortunately had 2 guests here, a member from BC and a member from Alberta today.
So coming from all points in Canada to the biggest outdoor car show in the country.
Yes. We've been here before, but not in this kind of numbers.
Well, I think that the viewers at first might have been cringing when they learned that you started to chop the roof on this thing and work on the frame and change the length and put a Corvette motor in it, change the suspension. But knowing that the thing was pretty much a basket case when you began and that you're following a template for something that came from Studebaker history,
Yeah.
maybe they shouldn't feel so bad.
I'm hopeful. I'm pleased with how we got so far, but it's a little ways yet to go.
All right, well, don't hunt him down, don't punish him, don't throw him in jail. The Studebaker police can relax.
Thank you very much.
All right, thanks for joining us on the show.
Good. Bye now.
Appreciate it.